Hello, this is the aftermarket report and also the watch list for this coming week. Today's date, October the 21st, 2018, and I'm going to turn this right over to Vegas and she's going to give us a description of what we're going to talk about today. Hello.
Hey, Jim.
Yep.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we have quite a long list because, you guys knows on Fridays, and we just rather recap that on Sunday to refresh your memory and also give you guys some items to look at for this coming Monday, October 22nd. So the ones we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about NDRA, we're going to talk about PLAG, we're going to talk about ears, we're going to talk about the shipping sector, we're going to talk about RENN and some pot plays, and one of them, a couple OTC ones in there. And then I just have a couple things to wrap up with towards the end. So I guess we'll start off with NDRA. So if you want to, I'll turn it over to Jim in a moment, but I just do want to mention that this particular stock actually, wouldn't be surprised if people were swing trading this from a couple weeks back. This had a really nice price point actually back on October 11th, actually, because it was as low as $2.11. And this company did have an offering that closed on October the 15th. So that was really good. And that's when I started to notice some serious volume actually on Wednesday, but I didn't keep my eyes on it until Friday. And that's kind of really when I started paying more attention to the stock. I actually took a position in the stock for a swing trade at 366 and holding it until this coming week. And I'd like to see the stock actually go to around $6 and maybe $6.25-ish. So I'm going to turn it over to Jim, and he's going to talk about the chart and tell you what supports he sees. And, I like the stock because I also like the weekly chart. And leave it over to Jim there. So, Jim, what are you going to tell us?
Well, like Vegas said, this thing's been a monster here in the last, looks like 7, 8 days. It ran from a bottom of approximately about 210 there to 414 in a matter of that period of a week, 7 business days. It's bullish. I'm going to pull it down. We got a year's resistance at 588 high, and that was back on at the end of last year. It had a harsh sell-off, then bounced up, and it's kind of consolidated up and down, and then here in the last 7 days, like I said, we've had a real nice bounce, 100% bounce from 218, around 210 to 214. And it had a high Friday here of about 431. So I'm going to change this to a 20-day. You see how this run's been going on for the last 7 days. We had a bottom there right around 214. You see the low of 202. And in that 7-day period, we bounced up to 481. And it's still bullish. We think we're going to tap up here again to that 530. And if we want to break that 530 and get to 548, then that will hit the next trigger. It can pull back a little bit, but just keep it on watch. And that's NDRA.
Okay. And also this company, they did have some news about looking for some fatty liver disease treatment, and also connected with GE Healthcare. So, this is also why some people are interested in the stock as well. So let's just see what this stock does.
I definitely like their device they use, and finding that fatty liver tissue is a good deal there. So, yep, we'll keep her on watch. I'm going to be watching it Monday morning. NDRA.
Okay.
Next.
All right. Hopefully my dog Gucci will behave, guys. Sorry about that. He's always wanting attention. That's what happens when you have a little puppy. Okay, so PLAG is Planet Green Holdings Corp. Wow, that was quite an interesting stock Friday. I mean, that opened at 321 went as high as 11.51. The low on that one was 2.85. I will say that obviously you guys know trade, whoever saw the action on the stock, I mean, obviously it got halted about 45 minutes into the open. So, the halt, first it was halted on volatility, and like microseconds later, it was halted on news pending. So T1. And, we still don't know what the news is. We don't know if it's going to be good news. We don't even know if it's going to be bad news. A lot of people are, have obviously going, oh my God, what's going on with the stock? Nobody knows. I mean, if it was going to be a T12 where NASDAQ's requesting additional information, then I'd be a little concerned. But the fact that it's a T1, there's obviously some potential material news. And, let's not forget that both C-level executives put in a total of about $5 million worth of buying the stock. And they also had some funds that closed of $10 million earlier that week. So very interesting action on the company. And, some people messaged us and were asking, is this a marijuana stock? Just because of the name of the company being Planet Green. And it's not a marijuana stock. They're into manufacturing and distribution of food products. They actually are involved with frozen foods. They're into convenience food products and chestnut products. They actually sell like roasted dishes, and they sell things that are, obviously that you can put in your microwave or ready to eat products at the convenience store. And obviously frozen foods like vegetables and frozen fruit. This company has been in business since 1986 and located in, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Huanan, China. So, they've been in business a long time. It's not just, some startup. So anyhow, we will see what happens Monday. Everyone's, excited, but there's a lot of people very nervous. And I can understand that. I mean, I personally am caught in the halt. I did take some profits towards the top, but not nowhere near the 11s. And then it got halted. So I don't know what's going to happen. So no one knows what's going to happen. It's 50-50. Could be good, could be bad. I hope it's not bad. I don't really think it's bad based on, what we can see here with what's happened with the company. So I think at the end of the day, we just wait and see. That is all we can really, really, truly do. So I'm going to turn it over to Jim because he was really looking at that chart and has his own perspectives on what he is seeing there on the chart. So Jim, you can talk about what you're seeing on the chart in terms of, your supports and resistance on the action that took place from Friday.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. This can go either way. We don't know exactly, what the news is going to be about, but it could be more positive than negative. I was what I'm thinking. So maybe at first, if it bounces on and breaks out, jump in it. But if it starts to pull back, I got two support levels that I'm through, actually three that I'm looking at. I've got right here at this $9 area. It seems like a real solid support. And then you got another one right here around 8.13. So I've got the $9 area, and it's around 9.15, somewhere in that $9 area. And then I got that one right here at 8. And then, I mean, I've got a couple of those 7.60, and then maybe a possible low of $6. But I think it's going to open up kind of shaky at first, and then it's going to go ahead and bounce on up off that good news and keep the momentum going up. This is a very low float stock. It's a China play, and speculation is about all we can think right now until the market opens Monday, and that is PLAG, PLAG.
Yeah, and I just want for a second on the fact that it's a low float and China play, and a lot of new people sometimes get really excited about jumping into these China stocks and China rallies. But when you're new starting out with trading stocks, be really cautious of these China rallies and don't be putting your account all in when you don't really have experience with trading. It's very risky. And there's also going to be other setups out there that are not risky like China stocks because they're so volatile when the action starts to run. So just be conscientious of that. There's other quality plays that are out there. So we just want to just remind you, don't feel like, oh, I'm missing out. I better jump into this one, jump into this one. There's going to be always some other stocks out there that are better paced, not as volatile, and still very rewarding. So please don't think that you're missing out. So just wanted to just comment on, especially for newer people, being cautious with these China stocks.
Yep.
Okay. So on to EARS, EARS. I did notice, you guys know EARS, they had the phase one, didn't really do too much to the stock. A lot of people didn't even hold the stock into that news because it was just phase one. The company looks like they do have up in November. So we are going to start seeing earnings season. You'll start noticing actually tomorrow the earnings season is getting actually a lot heavier and busier. So we'll start to see a lot of earnings come out from a lot of different companies. This one in particular is not really scheduled until around November 15. So keep that in mind. But I was interested really at the stock. Had some action on Friday. People did scalp the stock. Then when I look at the weekly, I kind of like the weekly a little bit. So I'm actually looking at this tomorrow for some sort of continuation from where it closed on Friday. So I'm going to let Jim talk about that chart because he actually has some sort of thoughts on the chart and also where he thinks the most it's going to go at this point. And he'll explain why he thinks that because it's, kind of hit those lines for him before. So I'm going to turn it over to the chartist artist.
Yep. And we ran this thing all the way up from around 45 cents. We started really noticing it right around, I think it was around 80. And it ran all the way up to $1.97. And we were running it into the data that we were going to get about those results. So it pulled back. It's consolidated. I've been alerted it in the room a couple days ago, Thursday at 86 cents. I said it was going to pull back. It did. And then it bounced on up to a resistance level of right around 113 is what I was calling. Then it pulled back all day long, back down to that support again, right around under a buck. Then we had, little after hour activity and it bounced up to that 106. I'm definitely not as bullish as Vegas is on this, but I'm definitely can use it as a flip play or a scalp. And I would like to get in at under a buck and get out of it right around 120. And then if it takes off from 120, my 130 is my next resistance. But I'm semi-bullish on it. I'm not 100%, but I definitely like EARS. It's done us well, and I patiently waited for the pullback. We hit a bottom of right around 85 cents on that pullback. I called that in the room. It bounced up to 120, and here we are back down at that dollar level again, under a buck. So keep EARS on watch. I think we can get some scalp plays on this. I'm not long on it, but Vegas likes this stock, and we'll go from there. And
I don't have a position on EARS either at this.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No. I was just looking at it on Friday. I know that we did call it in the chat, and people did make good money on it.
Yep.
Because it did ran. But I don't have a position, but I was looking at the weekly, and I kind of thought, oh, this could have some potential continuation come on Monday. So I am watching it from a day trade, but I'm also looking at it and see how it behaves tomorrow. Maybe might add for a swing. I don't know yet, but I am looking to do that. So keep it on your watch and stay tuned on that.
Okay. Then we got shipper stocks.
Oh, yeah. So you guys know Jim's talked about ship errors, especially we're getting closer to November. We know shipping theme going to get heated. Just like, every week sometimes there's a theme. The other last week was China stocks. This week, we don't know. Could be shippers. Shippers could strike at any time. And then when they start triggering, they all trigger at the same time. So we have quite a few, but Jim's going to talk about tops, DRYS, and GLBS. And
Yep.
that one, was a low float because they had the split. And also, just to comment, a lot of people sometimes, because they know they've been trading shippers for a long time, they know the season's coming. Some people will actually start collecting shares of these shipper stocks, even though there's not a lot of action on them. And they're just collecting it for when the move does come. So sometimes, although there's no action right now on shippers, we might start seeing some action. We're already starting to see a little bit of action on some of them that Jim's going to talk about. But just keep in mind, some people already start accumulating them already, and they just sell them on the breakout.
Yep.
So that might be something some of you might want to consider as sometimes taking a starter. Again, it's up to you. Trade safely, position size accordingly. But just trying to share how some people like to trade shippers because they know that it is going to start waking up, and they don't want to have to buy it at the high. They're trying to take advantage of the fact that it's not really that active right now. So they're trying to take advantage of the fact that, it's at a much lower price than where it could probably go. So, Jim, over to you on those charts.
Yes, I've called tops support for a long, long period of time. I've been trading tops for many years. So I've been yelling out in the room, if this thing gets down to $1, buy it, hold it. And we actually last week, a couple weeks ago, we got down to 95 cents. I was saying strong buy, and I've always said a strong buy right around 107. And I've done this for years. And I pull up the year's chart right now. You see it kind of looks flat there, but it's been splitted up and stuff. And here lately, I mean, this thing was down here around 90 cents. And here in the last week, 7 days, I've seen a real nice accumulation of going up. And I think this thing can pull back to about $1.15 to $1.18 for an entry level. And you can see that right. Let me pull up 1 day here real fast. You see this level right in here, this 118, where it hit right down there, where that's where I've had this trend line. And with first thing out of the morning, we jumped right up to that 138 level. And I told the room, I said, we hit resistance. If you're in it, get out, because it's going to pull back. And it did pull back, a little bit. But also I'm seeing a continuation on this thing that I really like. And I haven't seen this pattern for a while. You see how it bounces up, consolidates, and then bounces, and we're just on an uphill climb from the last 6 days. And I noticed a breakout right in here on that 7th day. So we hit that 135 resistance that I've had for a long time. And I think it's just going to pull back a little bit to maybe this 100 SMA, which is right around 118, 119 for an entry level. But I like to see this thing keep going up. I like to see it go to 150. And that's my long resistance on it for right now. But tops, I really like this stock. I think it's really moved up here in the last. I'm seeing something different in the chart, is what I'm saying, and it's an accumulation. And then we got DRYS, and I've always alerted DRYS right under $5. And here we are again. We're at 491. You see it consolidated here the week before last, in that little area that I'm talking about under $5, and then we had a pop up to 520. Now this thing can run up to $6 easily, 580, 561. I've got these yellow lines are my extended trend lines, and I use these same exact trend lines over and over again. And every once in a while I'll add a new one, like right in here, right around $5. But I've always had that as a low support. Anything under it is a strong buy. So that's DRYS. And then I know a lot of people have been talking about GLBS, and we alerted it on one of our watch list videos last week. And we had a nice little breakout on that sucker. And this has done it a couple times in about a 5-day period. So we're very bullish on GLBS right now. It's accumulating, it's consolidating, and then it has the bounces. We closed down and hit that, hit that little support. It kind of sold off Friday a little bit, but right after close, it bounced right back up to that $6. So let's keep and let me look at the year chart on this thing real fast, just to see. And you see all them yellow lines. I know they get kind of blurry, and I have to clean them out every once in a while. But this last 6 days have really been nice. So let's see if this pulls back just a little bit, no lower than 5, maybe 483. But let's keep GLBS on very high alert. And then, we got DCIX if you want to add it, and SHIP, SHIP. But those are the shipping stocks that I have on watch. And I'm real excited about TOPS right now and DRYS. And GLBS is in the third place rank there. Okay, Vegas. RENN.
Yeah, so RENN. RENN. And I don't even know. This is an interesting company because I don't know if you guys know, but RENN actually means everyone. And this is a really interesting stock. I like it so far. I don't have a position, just keeping it on a watch. The reason I like it though, I first want to just briefly tell you about the company. This company is formerly, a campus network. They were using this in universities. Kind of reminds me a little bit like a Facebook. They when they went pre-IPO, they had 160 million users, and now they have like over 247 million users.
Wow.
So that's incredible. So this company is into social networking, and they are obviously in China, and they also are in the used car business. So they have 14 locations, and they sell obviously online. You can go online and shop, but you can also go to the dealerships and shop. They provide even car insurance. Like they do the whole life cycle from the financing of the car all the way to the insurance of the car, and even give you like warranty for your, I guess, if you buy a car, you obviously want to have a warranty. So that's interesting. And they launched this back in April 2018. And they had also their earnings not too long ago. And the earnings was very, very strong. So I'm interested in this company. So I'm interested because the weekly chart. And there is some potential for this chart to have a continuation. And I'm going to turn that over to Jim and he can talk about that. But this is a really cool company. So very interested that they're in so many different things, from social networking to the used car business to sales as a service, and a huge presence in China. So I think there's a lot more growth to come down the road from this company. So definitely keep this on a watch and watch it grow. But also, Jim, what do you see on that weekly chart? And, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, I noticed just now, that earnings have really picked up on RENN. We were in the negative here uh, back about 4 or 5 months ago, the last earnings report, and also the one after it was also negative. But I'm noticing right now the last one we had, it had a 221 earnings, and that sounds real good to me. And we noticed that Vegas noticed it about all the stuff that it does, which makes a lot of sense. So I'm looking here at the year chart, and we've had some we had a breakout on this thing this year all the way up to $9.51. And then within a month, it sold off to 116. So it's kind of volatile in a way, and it's run up and down. We had a year low of 116, and it's bounced up to that 122 level and then pulled back again right about to 74 cents. Well, 5 months later, here we are. We had a good little bounce up here to around 260, 270, and it's consolidated real well. It didn't have these harsh sell-offs it's had before. We run down here and smooched up on that 100 SMA, which you see right here, and it's held at 100. Now we broke up above the 50. So I think we can take this easily to $2 and then 224. And this is one that could be an interesting swing or long play if you buy it at a support level, at a pullback. But I'm excited about this company also, and I'm going to definitely, I'm not in it, but I'm going to see what I can do with it Monday. And I can trade about any stock you give me. It's just the timing. I let them come to me. So this is RENN. Keep it on your watch list.
Yeah. Okay. And then I also just want to just talk a little bit about the pot plays because, pot was hot last week and, because of the legalization and then people are saying, oh, it's died down now and, pot's not so hot. Well, you have to remember that the excitement was because of the launch and the legalization in Canada. There's also going to be a lot of other states in the US that still have to look at legalization. And a lot of these, marijuana companies that are out there, you have to remember they're in the marijuana distribution and sales. So, maybe the hype could be calming down a little, but at the same time, these companies are going to have to report earnings in the future. And obviously, with marijuana being apparently sold out in certain provinces in Canada, there is a demand. And, if they're sold out, I mean, my goodness, the earnings could be really positive for a lot of these, really good marijuana companies that are out there that have good cash flow and solid sales. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Earnings is all about the sales, the dollars coming in. So I'm going to turn it over to Jim because he actually has a couple marijuana stocks that he actually is still watching closely and actually still really likes. So even some of those stocks have pulled back, there are still quite a few that he still really likes a lot. So Jim, which ones are those?
Well, we definitely called PURA from 5 cents, 5.5,
Oh
and we
yeah.
ran out all the way up perfect to that 25-cent resistance. Now that was procasted by analysts saying it was going to go to 25. And I got out of it at 15, played the pullback, got back in it, and I didn't run it up to the 25 cents, but I know somebody that did, and she's present right now. She's a very smart trader when it comes to patience, and I'm working on that. So thing pulled back once the that date hit, all of them pulled back, and that was expected. Selling the news when the news hits, and that's just the way it works. So we still think, and we had the pullback, and it consolidated Friday, and then it bounced up to that 15-cent level, and that's Pura. So we've got Pura still on watch, and I'm still flipping it. I'm still bullish on it. And then we've got a couple others that we really like that we add to this list, and that would be CRON, and everybody knows CRON, CRON. CRON had a pullback. I flipped it Friday on a little pullback, and we didn't have a little pullback. I mean, this thing went from 11, it broke out, sold off a little, which it always does. If you can catch that early bounce, that early dip, you can always run it up a little bit. But we had 11.32 high, and it sold off all day long. And I flipped this thing once, and I think it was right down here at 973. And I took it up for maybe, I think it was 10 cents or something. I'm using it in my U-Stock challenge account, which I started at $1,000. So we pulled back at support after hours here at 950, and we hit it again at 950. So we got a little double bottom there. I'm going to be watching CRON definitely Monday morning to get into it. And we have ACBFF. That's another one that we're real hot about. It's a great company. It's got a big market share up in Canada right now, and that's ACBFF. It also pulled back. We were up there at 11 bucks, and here we are again at 9.95. So that's a good dollar dip. And it did go down to 9.68 and bounced up to that $10 level. So these are good little flippers. These are something you want to keep on your watch list. I'm strongly bullish on it. And then we got InBev. InBev also pulled back. Now, I mean, all these pot stocks pulled back to where we want to get into them at. Maybe another day of dippage or something, but I've got them all on watch. And that's NBEV, I'm strongly bullish on it too for pullbacks. It had a high of 690, pulled back to 576. So that's a dollar something dip there on, and that's just too much. So everything, all the pot stocks sold off good after the 18th, and now they've pulled back. So keep them all on watch. I know everybody has a good list. And Vegas, that's it.
Okay. All right. So I do want to just mention just a couple little things. Yesterday Trade Ideas had a conference. They do this every year. The conference was in San Diego, California. They usually have various guest speakers that come and talk about, their thoughts on the market, yeah, trading tips, not tips about any stocks. I'm talking about strategies, you know, about how they trade, what's worked for them, what doesn't work for them. Everyone has, a totally different trading style. No one's going to be the same trader. Sometimes, you'll have people that love you and you have people that don't. And you know what? Who cares? At the end of the day, you do what works for you. Everyone manages their own account. No one's managing anyone else's money but your own. So, Trade Ideas had some good speakers. So I am going to include the link of that recorded session. I know some people watched it live yesterday and they actually found it informative. So if you have some time, add it to your library of things to listen to. One thing that I sometimes like to do when I'm driving in the car, although I like listening to music, I also like listening sometimes to, like a podcast. So, you can actually stream that YouTube recording from your phone when you're in the car and you can just listen to it like a podcast. You don't need to watch the video. There's nothing really to watch. People were just on stage talking. And some of them had a couple charts they were talking about, but it's just listen to the commentary, just listen to what people were saying. So I will include the video link in our description of today's video. And last but not least, super excited. Jim and I are actually partnered up. We had a nice conversation with the founder of TrendSpider, Dan, and also talked with Jake. And TrendSpider is a based company, and they actually provide charting tool, and it's a technical analysis software, but it's definitely not to replace anything that we use. It's just to kind of enhance what we're doing. So Jim and I are going to test pilot the software, and I really look forward to sharing with you guys my experience on how it's going, because I'm going to be using it from a newbie person. I have to, use the tool, use the charts, and see how does this help me if I was a new person using it. And, really, I am going to be. So I will tell you exactly how that experience is going, and I'll be reporting on that throughout the week and sharing it with you, since a lot of you have asked about charting tools and ones that are easy to use. So I'm going to test pilot this with Jim. As you know, he's a chartist artist, and he's going to check it out too. So it'll be kind of interesting to see our different perspectives on this tool. So we are excited to partner with TrendSpider, and stay tuned for the updates on that experience. And other than that, I think we are done for today's report. As you guys know, Sunday videos are normally longer than the ones during the week, because we obviously recap Friday, and we also try to prepare you for things to look at for Monday. So thank you so much to everyone for being supportive of us, supporting the trading community. That's what's important. No time for negativity out there. There is negativity sometimes out there in social media. Just ignore, focus on what makes you fulfilled and happy. No time to waste energy on stuff like that. So on that note, I wish you all a blessed Sunday and a fabulous trading day tomorrow. It's going to be exciting. I think a lot of people are anxious to hear about PLAG. I think it's going to be on a lot of people's minds. And Jim, any other closing remarks for today?
No, just PLAG's going to be on watch. Keep a good list of what we're talking about today and see how they do. And we like for you to comment below, hit the like button. We also like for you to subscribe and maybe hit the bell if the bell comes up, so every time we post a video, you can get updated on it. And Vegas and I are been together, teamed up for about a year now or longer.
Oh, it's been longer, Jim.
Yep.
A
So
lot longer.
so that's about the way it is. This is the aftermarket report. We thank you very much. We love stocks. I love stocks. Vegas loves stocks. We all love stocks. This is October the 21st. Prepared for next week. And have a great day, Vegas.
Bye, everyone. See you tomorrow.
We love stocks.